And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Alien Spaceship stream. You be watching from anywhere around the country or the world, and I really appreciate every single one of you. Coming to you from the Spaceship Studios from a galaxy far, far away. And let's go this way. All right. So, hello, everybody. It is great to see everybody, and we are back. So, yeah, we will be going down rabbit holes and talking about various different things. And the now speaking of weather, it seems like it's getting a little bit more, it's like cooler and warm at the same time. That is going on, but overall it is nice, especially at night. It's pretty cool, so I like that. The plants are doing well, sprouting, and always glad to see that. We'll be continuing updating about those things, right? And now I'll be getting the trials. Where there's the Folio trial that's been going on. I've been keeping up with. Also, the Tanner trial too. So both of those are on. And today, as you can obviously see, we have everything fixed up for us to be here. And now I'll be diving into various, different rabbit holes. Right. So, specifically the about the 80s, and the decade was defined by a shift of criminal investigation techniques and a surge in public fascination with unexplained, largely driven by the iconic television shows. And we're explaining these things, and they aired in 87, and now we'll get into what some of those were. So now you have the Chicago, the Tylenol murders, 1982, perhaps the most impactful case here in the 80s. The 7 people in the Chicago area were deleted after taking Tylenol capsules laced with potassium cyanide, despite a nationwide panic and major FBI investigation. Oh, hello, Aaron. Understood. Well, thank you for hitting the like button, and see you soon. And hope everything's going well with you. I have some, the garden. We got some more things sprouting in the garden on my end, which is I'm glad to see, and hope that everything's going well with you too. So appreciate it. And perhaps so the Tylenol thing was a very messed up because people want to go to the store and get their Tylenol whatever, and when it's laced with something, it's hard to trust the the situation, because when you have that there, it causes bad to the brand and bad to the people that were trying to take the medicine. So I'm surprised Tylenol didn't get taken out of business over it, but it's good that they were able to completely protect it from that. So anyway, the cyanide was in there. Now, despite the nationwide panic, a major FBI investigation, the perpetrator who placed the tampered bottles back on store shelves was never caught, and this is a legendary tragedy that led directly to development of modern tamper evidence packaging. So, I mean, I guess with Amazon and these different things you could do to have it shipped to your house might be better, but then again, it could happen there too. And as I said, I'm surprised it didn't get put out of business over this, and I'm sure it was more than one person. It could have been person or persons. And there was the Kendi cabin murders, 1981. A brutal quadruple homicide took place in a small resort town in North Carolina. 3 victims were found in the cabin 28, while fourth, a 12-year-old Tina was not there and was then found years later. Despite multiple suspects, the recovered hamper potentially linked the crimes. No one has ever been charged. Because even I was saying on one of the streams that even now, people, you can have cases that are never solved, but they, in that situation when they're never solved, they are really up for interpretation because in modern times we even still have unsolved cases now. It's better with our technology and with our surveillance cameras. It's easier to find people, but it can still be difficult to find people even now. So that was, and sometimes it's relatives that do those things also. There's Max Headroom Incident 1987. So on November 22, 87, the mysterious individual wearing a Max Headroom mask hijacked the signals of two Chicago television stations, and the perpetrator interpreted a news broadcast and a Who a Doctor Who episode with bizarre graveled transmissions. And hackers remain unidentified to this day. The Yogids case, 1984. The German foot engineer Gunther Stuhl was found deleted in a car under suspicious circumstances after writing the cryptic message YOGTZE on a piece of paper. His deletion death remains a subject of intense speculation due to erratic behavior before the incident and unexplained nature of the YOGTZE node. And disappearance of Dorothy Jane Scott. 1980. After dropping a coworker at a hospital, Dorothy disappeared from the parking lot for years. After her disappearance, her family received disturbing anonymous phone calls from a man claiming to have deleted her. Her remains were found in 1984, but her deleter killer has never been identified. Emerged themes of a decade. So the 80s saw a rise of specific mysteries that became cultural staples. So there was Satanic Panic in 1988, were often colored by the public fears of satanic cults, though evidence of such organized groups rarely materialized. And UFO and paranormal phenomena. 1980s, there were a peak of alleged extraterrestrial encounters, including the Tic Tac UFO sightings, often discussed as contemporary research. Jane and John Doe's, many identified victims from the era, like Buckskin Girl, Princess Doe, remained nameless for decades until the advent of genetic genealogy. Alright, let's see. Chernobyl. Alright, and alright, so here we go. Okay. Now, the 80s was a landmark era of paranormal reports featuring some of the most credible, well-documented cases in history due to the involvement of military personnel and professional investigators. The iconic UFO encounters. The decade saw is famous for high strangeness and aerial sightings that produced physical evidence such as ground impressions and radiation spikes. The Redlesham Forest. The incident in 1980, often called the Britain's Roswell event, involved dozens of U.S. military personnel, and RAF Woodbridge, who witnessed a metallic triangular craft in the woods over several nights. Witnesses reported touching the craft and seeing strange symbols etched on its surface. Radiation readings taken at the land site were 10 times normal background level. Winchester Boomerang, 1982 and 86, one of the largest UFO clusters in history, where over 5,000 people in New York's Hudson Valley reported a massive silent V-shaped craft with multicolored lights. In one instance, the object reportedly hovered just 30 feet above the Indian Point nuclear plant. Cache Landrum Incident, 1980. Their witnesses in Texas encountered a diamond-shaped object emitting intense heat, escorted 23 military-style helicopters. All three suffered immediate physical symptoms consistent with radiation poisoning, including skin blisters and hair loss. All right, let's see. All right, now there's haunted locations and poltergeists. So many cases from the decade became legendary, though their dramatic retelling on the series Unsolved Mysteries. The Talisman Ghost, 1988. A family in Hornicon, Wisconsin, reportedly driven by their home by Melvin spirits following purchase of their use of bunk bed case, featured reports of red-eyed witch and other terrifying apparitions only appeared at the children at first, and the Kelsey House. This segment remains one of the show's most unsettling, detailing the persistent haunting and set plagued a family with phantom voices and physical disturbances. All right, the Queen Mary, which we talked about before, and the investigations. The public obsession with paranormal during this time was fueled by a massive media project, a mysterious unknown. This is 1987 book series. Time Life became a cultural phenomenon, breaking sales records and covering everything from psychic powers to ancient hauntings. And professional research. Skeptical investigators like Tony Cornell used then modern technology such as weird movement detectors, haunted furniture to try to capture definitive proof of paranormal activity. All right, let's go here. The 1980s was golden age of paranormal enthusiasts, largely defined by high production media that attempted to bring a sense of scientific investigation to supernatural. Mysteries Unknown Phenomenon, and their sales records. Launched in 1987, the 33-volume set broke every sales record for Time Life books within its first 15 months. Iconic ad campaign. The commercials often featured Julianne Moore and focused on a skeptic being converted by the book's contents, famously using the tagline, "Read the book." Subject matter. Each volume tackled a specific topic such as UFO phenomenon, 1987, Phantom Encounters, 1987, and Mind Over Matter, 1988, blending the folklore with historic photos and scientific theories. Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, 1980, hosted legendary sci-fi author 13-part British series. took more of academic approach to topics like the lake monsters and ancient mysteries. The Smurl family hauntings. 1986, and the PA case became a national media sensation in the mid 80s, involving demonologist Ed Lorraine Warren. His famously documented 1986 book, The Haunted and Subsequent TV Movie. The Hell House of Martinez, 1980s. A less famous but terrifying account involving fireballs appearing in midair and flashing of static electricity inside California ranch home. Yeah, it's like when these things happen, I think it's extremely fascinating that there's these paranormal activities that can't exactly be detected. And there is now those looking for believe decades, these items are frequently found in vintage markets like the Etsy and eBay, by the way. Mysteries of the Unknown sets individual volumes, usually ranging from $18 to $69, while complete or large sets can reach $175. Haunted Heartland 1988. R. Mark. Good to see you. And Haunted Heartland 1988, a classic book by Beth Scott and Michael Norman that became a staple for local ghost series across American Midwest. All right, and let's go here. All right, now we were talking, Mark, the last time we were live about the Atlantis and about Bermuda. You know, about some ship sinkings. So it's the shipwreck capital of the Atlantic with 300 documented shipwrecks scattered across the treacherous coral reefs. These sunken vessels date back to the 1600s, which many occurring because the island's reefs rise sharply from deep water to just centimeters below the surface, making them difficult for sailors to detect. Famous Bermuda shipwrecks. And the the island's history deeply tied to the marine disaster, and today they serve as a popular dive and snorkel sites. There is the Cristobal, the large known wreck in Bermuda waters. This is a 499-foot Spanish luxury liner crashed in the reef in 1936 after the captain mistook a communications for a lighthouse. His wreckage is spread across 100,000 square feet of the seafloor. Mary Celestia, a Civil War era paddle steamer. Been looking at forensic linguistics, so nobody can lie to me now. Oh, okay. Scared. All right, Mark. That is good to know. Glad that we have that done on board. So we'll have you as the detective of the spaceship. All right. Then there's the Mary Celestia, and there's a Civil War era paddle steamer and blockade runner that sank in 1864. It is remarkably well preserved at depths of 55 feet, with paddle wheel and engine still visible. In 2011, a storm revealed hidden cargo, including bottles of 150-year-old wine, the Constellations, and Montana. These two wrecks sit remarkably close together in what divers call a shipwreck triangle. The Montana sank in 1863, and the Constellation hit the same reef exactly 80 years later in 1943 while carrying cargo of cement and whiskey. This site inspired Peter Benchley's novel and films of the deep. North Carolina, a 250-foot English iron hulled sailing ship that sank on New Year's Day in 1880. It sits upright on the sandy seabed, a depth of 25 to 45 feet, known for its ghostly grace. Sea Venture, perhaps the most significant wreck in the island's history, this British ship crashed on reefs in 1609 during the hurricane, and survivors became Bermuda's first permanent settlers, and stylization of this sinking ship is featured of the official Bermuda Triangle. All right. While ships sink in Bermuda, the high density of the wreck is primarily attributed to natural, geographic, and environmental factors rather than mysterious Bermuda Triangle, which I do believe there's something paranormal about the Bermuda Triangle. I don't think that, what they're saying is exactly true. Submerged reefs. Fringing coral reefs extended far from the shoreline and can be nearly invisible just below the surface. Powerful currents. The confluence of the ocean currents at the Gulf Stream can disorient navigators and affect speed and positioning. Unpredictable weather. Bermuda is frequently in a path of powerful hurricanes and storms that generate massive waves and dangerous visibility. All right. Been around the Horn. Very rough. It's a ship's graveyard. It's weird. 2 days of standing up and doing headstands. Oh my bad. Okay. And yeah, it definitely very spooky. All right, the Cape Horn at the southern tip of South America is one of the world's most notorious ship graveyards with estimated 800 ships, a 300 sunken ships. And this is saying with the Cape Horn in South America uh, is one of the most notorious ship with 800 ships sunk and over 10,000 lives lost. Sailors historically referred to it as the Everest of the seas during the extreme hazards of the Drake Passage, where the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans collide. All right, there is something called the San Telmo, 1819, a Spanish flagship that disappeared during severe storms in the Drake Passage. All 644 passengers and crew perished, making it one of the largest losses of life in the area's history. Oh yes, yes, that is very true. Mark. HMS Wagger, 1741, a British warship that ran aground on a desolate island while attempting to round the Horn. The survivors faced grueling ordeal of starvation and mutiny, which became a legendary tale of maritime survival. Champion of the Seas, 1877. Once the holder of the world record for the fastest day's run, this famous clipper ship eventually met its end near the Horn. Fortunately, the entire crew survived the sinking. The Edward Seawall in 1904, while not a wreck, the ship is famous for one of the most agonizing passages in history, taking 59 days just to battle its way around the Horn due to unrelenting gales. Right, HMS Beagle, 1833. The ship carrying naturalist Charles Darwin nearly foundered during the violent gale. Darwin described the storm as a height of heights, noting that a less sturdy vessel would have certainly been lost. Well, glad he made it out of that. There is one time the ship had, you know, in the Gulf, there's these little boats, and you can go on like a little boat into the Gulf, and it looks like these huge waves that can make a ship goes down in the wave and it comes back up the other side, all the way up the other side. It goes down and up. Yes, yes, there must be a treasure there. Arr. Is that us rent a boat? Yes. We should go get a boat and find the treasure. That's there. Yes, absolutely. Why the Horn is so deadly, and perfect storm navigational dangers. All right, the squeeze. The vast currents of the Antarctic circumpolar currents are forced through 50-mile wide Drake Passage, increasing their speed and density. The shallow seabed. The one floor rises abruptly. Arg. Yes. The shallow seabed. The ocean floor rises abruptly over 13,000 feet and 300 feet near the coast, causing waves to build into a massive vertical walls of the water. Falls Cape Horn, a headland located in 35 miles northwest of the actual Cape Horn. Navigators often mistook it for the real Horn, causing them to turn east too early and crash into Wollaston Island. But Cape Horn is known as the Everest of the seas due to its legendary danger. The stories of those who survive its passage are among the most remarkable in maritime history. The HMS Wagger, 1741. After the ship was driven onto a desolate island by hurricane force winds, the supervisors faced a harrowing ordeal of starvation and mutiny. The split. The main crew mutinied against Captain David Cheap. I guess David was cheap. His name's Captain Cheap, leaving him behind with a few loyalists. The journey, the mutineers sailed nearly 3,000 miles in modified open boat to Brazil. Only 29 of the original 81 survived the 107-day journey. Captain's escape. Remarkably, Captain Cheap also survived, aided by local Chunos Indian chief who guided the last survivors to safety. The first Antarcticans. Mark says, I was lost 8 containers. She carried 3,000 MV New Zealand Pacific. I was 18. Wow, wow. Those containers are really big too. In my yard I have one of those type of containers that are on the ships, and yeah, it definitely. Uh, I'm sure it was loud when they fell off, or however they got knocked off the ship. Yeah. Now, there's the first Antarcticans in San Telmo, 1819. The Spanish flagship San Telmo vanished in the Drake Passage with 644 souls, while traditionally recorded as having no survivors. Good evening, Saw Girl. It's great to see you. And 20-foot containers. Yeah, that's big. All right, Saw Girl. What we are talking about is a variety of different topics, and at the moment we are talking about ship sinkings from the Pacific and just some Navy stories. Also, tales of the high seas. Before that, I was talking about some unsolved cases, and now we're talking about some of these ship disasters. And the night is going well, and we're back online for everybody. So that's cool. And the first Antarcticans. So right now I'm talking about the first Antarctican, San Telmo, 1819. It was a Spanish flagship. Oh, awesome, Sogro. The Spanish flagship, San Telmo, vanished during the. Yes, Sawgirl. So with the internet, we have a new internet service, and it's different than the other one, which I'm actually going to go on a side rant about this one. So we're going to put the Sea Tales on hold. Oh, that was a really cool mark. Yeah, that was some a good story to tell about that. Yeah, it was really cool. Ship sinking. Speaking of which, I was watching Titanic conspiracy theories a few days ago. Oh, good tone. That's good. Glad that you were watching that. And so I've been doing the garden lives, but what happened was so we have new internet, and the reason why we got this other type of internet because there's been issues on through since I started live streaming in 2022 or 23 before any of you came here. I was plagued with internet that sometimes would be spotty, and since we're going to be streaming trials and stuff of having spotty um, trials like this is that seaworthy, yes. Buried beneath the sand centuries, archaeologists just found a perfectly preserved 2,000-year-old anchor in North Sea. Oh, that is so cool. That's so cool. And basically, we have in this situation the yes, yes, I was scared. The other story that happened was there is another internet service in my city, and there is it would be spotty. Even people besides myself were having same issues. You know how sometimes we'll do the stream and it'll act spotty. Um, that's what would happen to everybody because everything's on the same grid, and there's these wires that are buried underground that were kind of maybe damaged from a catastrophic event that happened 20 years ago, and they still use the same systems that they did 20 years ago. So that's why there's some faulty systems. And the systems that were put there were from the 80s. So this one that we have now, although it's very new, we'll see in the long term how it really goes. But it's built on something that was from 2010, and it has fiber optics in it instead of copper. And there's these boosters that go like like 3,000 square feet. And anytime we've tried, so don't want to jinx ourselves, but this should, in my opinion, be better than what we had before. Oh, you're welcome, Slugro. Now, the reason why I was offline for a while recently, this is something that you may not know, Slugro. The reason why we were offline for now was because I told you this already. I told you this maybe a day ago or so, but the TV was connected to it and it wasn't supposed to be, so we had to reset these things so it could just go to my internet, to my computer and other devices. So yeah, we had to reset it for us to have it the way it is now. That's why I was offline again, because we were back on the other thing and it was a Timu internet, and we don't need to have a Timu screen. A Timu stream is not necessary. So that's why we are back now, and we're going to see how it all goes. So, yeah. All right. So, Togro says, buried beneath the sand, centuries archaeologists found the perfectly preserved 2,000-year-old anchor in North Sea. Yes, in some interviews, some Titanic survivors said there was no iceberg that hit the ship. Oh, yeah. I hear you. It makes sense to me. Because, with the ship that happened, it could have been hit by something else because the people that were on Titanic were opposing the Federal Reserve. And that's why they were, taken out. Yeah. It's very mysterious. All right. The first Antarcticans. The Spanish flagship San Telmo vanished in the Drake Passage with 644 souls. While traditionally recorded as having no survivors, the wreckage and artifacts found months later on Livingston Island suggested that some crew members may have reached land. If they did, they were likely first humans in history to set foot on an Arctic continent, though they did not survive the freezing conditions long enough to be rescued. Billionaires sink their boats in deep water, makes it hard for Insui company to check kitchen fire. Ah, yeah, it's a big. It sounds like a big cover up. Yeah, definitely. Sawgirl says, "I seen rid bits that was middle take of the elite on board. I seen bits that it was a missile was taking out the elites on board. Yeah. So there were on board the ship. There is maybe a torpedo that hit it instead of the iceberg. Because oh, hello, Moki. Welcome to the stream. Nice to have you, as always. And someone said yes. Some have suggested it was explosion rather than iceberg. Yeah, that Titanic was designed to be like a warship, basically, but it wasn't invincible. So it's mysterious how you had all those people on board, and it hit the iceberg, but it really hit a torpedo. Yeah, it could have also been a landmine, a water mine that it hit too, possibly. But most likely it was a torpedo. Sarville says, "Has anybody ever wondered what happened to that iceberg? It was just kind of gigantic waste, but gigantic, wasn't it? Do you think it would have still been around by the time rescuers came around?" Okay, Moki said about the Noah's Ark stuff. I have known about the Noah's Ark stuff going on, but if there's something recently, Moki, I'm not aware of it. If there's something new, I'm not aware. But tell me about if what new developments have happened with Noah's Ark, but I know about Noah's Ark. In Turkey, there's like a big crater where it was, and we've been talking about it on the show. But if you found out anything new about it, I am all ears. Well, technically, I would be all eyes because I'm reading comments. Oh yeah. Okay, so the Titanic allegedly was in an ice field, so the iceberg still would have been present, and allegedly they saw the iceberg, and it was allegedly photographed. All right, thank you, Moki. Okay, let's go here. Okay, interesting. Let's see. Thank you, Moki. We're only team excavating underground scans of the site where Noah's Ark landed. Soon we'll show the world. Okay. All right, so it looks like under. Okay, let's see. A lot of pictures of Titanic. Never seen. Okay, they found tunnels like structures on the ground. Okay. Okay, that is really cool, Moki. Thank you. Okay, and we got this one right here. Oh, the sub with the PlayStation control is called a Titan. All right. So, ground penetrating radar scans and soil samples from the tunnel site, which reportedly matched the 515-foot dimension of Noah's Ark, uncovered a series of corridors below the earth. The tunnels were discovered running down the middle of the boat and alongside inside edge of the possible ship leading to central cavity. Jones called it the atrium. Well, we're gonna have to go a deep dive into this one. Let's go this one. All right. Let's see. And Tone says also apparently short time after Titanic incident, there was a man on the ship who photographed an iceberg, claiming it was an exact one to hit the Titanic. Yes. Uh, Sargo says a lot of pictures of Titanic. I've never seen iceberg. They thought it was an exact Titanic iceberg because it had long red streaks along the iceberg. Right. Yeah, exactly. Also, there's a pretty amazing footage of UFO over Nestle Air Force Base here in Las Vegas. Oh, I'd like to see it. Thank you. Oh yeah. right here we have the alleged UFO sighting right here that was over Las Vegas. And that looks pretty cool. Like that. And yeah, it's very spooky looking. And also very realistic. And let's see this right here. All right. And another incident is a CERN whistleblower says that there's beings coming in and out of portals at the bottom of CERN. Apparently they are ultra ultra terrestrials for real, and future that Amy Eskeridge and Dan Bursich have also mentioned. According to CERN Insider, that these future humans are coming through the portals to try to change time and manipulate timelines. This also comes at a time when rumors have circulated that Sam Altman is building a portal and possibly summoning the NHI. So, yeah, and we know from the the conversations we've had about J Rod, about that thing, it's extremely clear that these entities are coming from another dimension, coming over here. They allegedly from 45,000 years from now or 56,000 years from now. So we know from these whistleblowers about these stargates that opened up, especially with the the Mandela effect that has occurred. People have seen that, so it definitely seems like there's some sort of time warp that has happened. And that CERN is really the culprit here about a lot of these things that we are seeing. Yeah, and that there's been lots of concern about the portals and the collider. So it seems like CERN is responsible in some ways for opening these things up and bringing them into our realm. The one scientist who died had a video talking about the P45s and P67s or whatever that we learned about from the J Rod stuff. Okay, that's good. I that would be cool to see. Yes, and so different investigative journalists are also reporting about these portals that are coming out. Oh, hope that you are well too, Lori. Welcome to the stream. We're talking about aliens and different things like that at the moment. And yeah, so the J Rod stuff that we have been talking about has been all over these different internet conspiracies. And let's go here. We're gonna talk this other part. Let's see. All right, Tone said I didn't catch that future humans coming from portals and cryptids as well, or just future humans. Okay, the cryptids could be creations from them, or they could be huge. The future humans are allegedly the aliens, but the cryptids I think are too. Yes, there's I think a new wave of them coming from that as well. CERN portals and the Hadron Collider. CERN does not create physical. Okay, CERN does create the physical portals, and let's see. All right, this is the portals. All right, so in 2012, there was a timeline rift. There was a widespread uh, problem that occurred that in 2012, it seems allegedly that the experiments were opening up portals and destroyed our original timeline, apparently, and shifted humanity into a parallel universe. Proponents, this is the Mandela effect, collectively mismembering the facts like Bernstein bears and proof of the dimensional bleed through. So those dimensions from there that are coming over here are a gateway to hell. And but religious people have risen to concern of the legitimate thing that may be occurring of the occultic interpretations. Oh, okay. Multitasking uh, on the spaceship. Yeah, scared. Shout out to you, chat. Okay. And claims that the large. So what happened was allegedly the large Hadron Collider designed to open a portal to a demonic realm, and this was fueled by the 2016 viral human sacrifice video filmed on Serve grounds. When CERN officially investigated and confirmed it was a staged prank by visiting researchers, but it actually was probably something real, in my opinion. Subterranean entities. Researchers like Dr. Astrid Schuckelberger has claimed that physicists at CERN privately admitted to the existence of physical portal beneath the facility where the beings come and go. She even alleged that the beings once left behind a scarf as a physical proof of the visit. Solar eclipse portal. During the April 2024 total solar eclipse, viral social media posts claimed that CERN was. Yes, I agree, Moki. Yeah, very reckless things. Indeed. And Tone said, I believe the timeline shift. Also in 2012, there was the end of the Mayan calendar, which in turn led to the belief of the end times in 2012. Maybe a stretch, but I wonder if it's connected. Oh no, I mean from the J Rod thing that we've covered before, the person in an interview was talking about this problem where the J Rod, the gray alien, they went into a time machine and the aliens changed the timeline so the world wouldn't end and Nibiru wouldn't hit us. That's something they allegedly did. Well, Mark, they definitely are politicians that are shape-shifting reptiles. Definitely. And yeah, and that's what Project Looking Glass was about. Yep, that's true. And they're able to come from this world to our world and do that. So yes, the 2012 thing has to do with it. Definitely. The solar eclipse portal. During the April 2024 solar eclipse, viral social media posts claim that CERN was timing experiments to open a portal using a celestial alignment. And other news agencies were saying it was not true, but it was most likely true. CERN clarifies that when it's researching terms of portals, they are referring to the theoretical bridges between known and unknown physics. They claim that hidden sector portals, these are mathematical models where a known particle like the Higgs boson and photon might interact with hidden particles such as dark matter. And extra dimension, when the LHC looks for evidence of extra spiral dimensions predicted by string theory, the string theory, these would be at subatomic scale and could not serve as a physical doorway for humans over objects. Where he says, when I think of the Mayan calendar ending 2012, it brings to mind of the galactic great year, roughly 26,000 years. Something tells me it has something to do with that, but I don't know. Oh, okay, thank you, gotcha. Very interesting. It very well may. It very well may. Yeah. Yeah. So J Rod is this gray alien that was held at a facility in a secret government base. And this man was the one that was dealing with J Rod, and he was doing, he was talking to him, he was doing interviews with him, and that is what J Rod was. It was this gray alien that was at a government facility, and this person that was working with the ET was trying to, he got to know him and talk to him, and they became friends. And the alien, the gray alien J Rod, claimed to be this alien from 46 to 56,000 years from now. And he came back for various reasons, and he wanted to go back in his timeline to save us. Okay, Saw Girl, that film that I showed you was based off of the J Rod thing. Yes. But there's an actual interview of the man that was communicating with the J Rod, that was talking to him. I don't mind replaying it. It doesn't bother me. And let's see. Extra dimensions. While the LHC looks for evidence for extra spatial dimensions predicted by string theory, these would be subatomic scale that could not serve as physical doorway for humans or objects. Oh, we think it could be J. It could be Skinny Bob. They could be the same person, possibly. All right, let's see. And see, because I remember with the J Rod, I don't think there's any copyright issues with that one. That's why I don't mind playing it. All right. And if I said if something happens to this place, there's another channel to go to. So, uh, let's see. Sick. Wrong window. Let's go here and yeah, they are vegetarian apparently. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, that's awesome, Lori. That's awesome. So, oh, thank you, Lori. I appreciate it. All right, the context of the UFO lore. I'll read you, Sagaro, a summary about what it is. Context of UFO lore and conspiracy theories. J Rod, the name of specific extraterrestrial entity, alleged held at Area 51, specifically at. Or the reptilians feed on blood and fear. The reptilians feed on blood and fear, but the other aliens, like the Ebians, don't. The Ebians don't eat meat. They seem like they eat chalk. But the gray aliens probably, and the lizard aliens do too. Yeah, the lizard aliens are the worst ones. A specific extraterrestrial entity allegedly held in Area 51 assist on U.S. government with advanced technology. The most detailed accounts of J Rod came from whistleblowers who came to have interacted with him directly. Origins. J Rod is often described as gray alien who reportedly survived a 1953 UFO crash near uh, Kingman, Arizona. Whistleblower accounts. Dan Burish, a former microbiologist who claims he was assigned to take tissue samples from J Rod and maintained he held his health. Burish alleges that became friends and communicated through a shared consciousness or telepathy. Bill Uhouse, a former Air Force test pilot who claims to have worked with Gerard in the mid 1960s to reverse engineer flight simulators and propulsion technology. Future human theory. One of the most famous aspects about J Rod's story is the claim that he was not an extraterrestrial from another planet, but a human from a distant future. In his theory, Greys are descendants of mankind who travel back in time to retrieve genetic materials or correct historical mistakes to ensure their own survival. Physical and psychic traits. He is typically described as a 4 foot tall humanoid with large almond shaped eyes, and some accounts claim looking into his eyes could trigger a state of emotional euphoria in humans. Kind of like a vampire, where people looked into the eyes of the vampire and it was kind of trippy. Let's see here. All right. Sargo says, either way, that's an alien to me, whether he's from the future, the past, or somewhere else universe. If they come, tell them vaccinate for poof because the government cares. The government cares. Right, right. Sargo says, now I'm going to listen quietly. It's hard not to comment sometimes. Okay. And Tone said, "You never know what AI generated these days, but I saw a vid of Bigfoot wandering around and walked up and sometimes a house and began staring inside at them without glass." Wow. Wow. Well, J Rod is a major figure. Fringe UFO research has been featured on programs like the History Channel's Ancient Aliens. There is no verifiable evidence of the existence and may the research. Hello, Head. I am doing fine. We are having a evening of talking about different alien theories and stuff. Project Looking Glass. Let's do that. Let's do both. Oh, AJ. Yes, Raccoon. I'm live. This is the computer live. We're talking about J Rod right now. The alien. The legend of J Rod has built two pillars of the physical events of 1950s and high tech viewing program that allegedly explains his true origin. Another one committed suicide. I didn't hear about that one. Uh, we got. If you know anything more about it, let me tell me like who it was or whatever you know about it, and we'll try to go look it up. Oh, nice, Raccoon. Facts. The story begins with the Kingman UFO crash, 1953. The story begins with reported crash in May 21, 1953, near the Kingman, Arizona. According to the researcher Harry Drew and engineer Arthur Stankill, a teardrop-shaped craft made a forced landing in the desert. And survivors. While some accounts claim all passengers died, others insist that one of the six beings survived. These survivors were reportedly taken to Area 51, specifically the S4 facility. Thanks, bro. Okay. A new scientist. So we're gonna go. It's number 12 now. Okay. Collaboration. Bill Uhouse, a former test pilot, claimed to spent years working alongside J Rod flight simulation to reverse engineer alien propulsion systems. Yes, AJ. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like actively happening as we speak. Pretty much. Green said, "I just crashed on the kid's mom in PTSD and cried, and when Cheryl ended up apologizing and thought, well, at least I have the UFO channel." Yes, yes. Uh, you're definitely welcome here. Yeah. And Mark says, "I spent the last good 100 hours looking into pyramids. What a rabbit hole. Now they tell me the pillars underneath. It's kind of doing my head in." Yeah, yeah, it could definitely be mind blowing. All right. Name being so collaboration. Bill U House. Okay, re talk about that. Okay. Project Looking Glass. Future of Humanity Theory. Project Looking Glass is described by whistleblower Dan Burish as classified program that used reverse engineering technology to view future timelines. The technology, Burish claimed the device used counter-rotating mercury plasma to warp a space-time, creating a lens that allowed operators to see probable future events. The revelation. Through interactions with Gerard and using the looking glass, Burish claims to have learned that Greys are actually humans from 50,000 years in the future. The crisis. According to the theory, J-Rod's race suffered genetic collapse after a global cataclysm. They travel back in time in 1950s as invaders, but retrieve the healthy human DNA, warn modern humans about a timeline coverage that allegedly occurred around 2012. I wanted to talk about my BS, but I'm now on UFO. Let's go. I'll divulge classified information to this point. Right. Okay. And so the Kingsman crash details, recovery of physical ET craft and beings, Project Looking Glass claims, viewing of influence of future timelines, J Rod's role, resident advisor for reverse engineering, biological subject and source of future history, Project Looking Glass, the whistleblower, Bill Uhouse, pilot, Dan Burish, microbiologist. Tech focus, gravity defying propulsion and space time distortion stargates. Okay, Raccoon, tell me more info. Yeah. Yeah, spill all the beans. Alright, here's some examples of Project Looking Glass. The lore Project Looking Glass predictions are typically described as probabilities rather than fixed events. The alleged devices was said to display multiple branches of timelines with accuracy of predictions, depending on which timeline was currently most probable. 2012 timeline coverage convergence. The most famous prediction associated with Project Looking Glass is the coverage of timelines around December 21, 2012. The prediction. Whistleblowers like Dan Burish claims that as the year 2012 approached, all the various branching future timelines observed by the device began to collapse into a single unavoidable bottleneck. Outcome. This convergence supposedly meant that the choice of individuals would become less consequential because all paths led to the same basic history. This unwanted outcome reportedly caused panic among elites managed the project because they felt it had lost ability to manipulate the future. Hilarious, Mark. All right, there's still one in Nevada, and I can't make this stuff up. Okay, there's still a crash in Nevada that they're recovering. All right, so Raccoon was is basically like a whistleblower and explaining that in Ohio there was this UFO crash that they're still retrieving stuff from, but they can't really. You can correct me if I get something wrong. That they can't completely reverse engineer it, and it's still sitting there. There's also one in Nevada too. So it seems like there's these UFOs that are just sitting there that they're trying to reverse engineer, and you just kind of stay there. Didn't. Right. And also news: archaeologists excavated a cave beneath 11th century castle that found 112,000-year-old remains. Well, that's really cool, Toggle. Outcome: this coverage supposedly meant that the choice of individuals would become less consequential because of all paths led to the same basic history, and this unwanted outcome reportedly caused panic among elites managed the project because they felt they had lost ability to manipulate the future. All right, Raccoon says also now hear this. Space Command also said they put three things in space to monitor more shiz, allegedly. Ah, okay. So, yeah, because remember we were talking before about Space Command is monitoring every single person on Earth right now, especially in the country, and that there's no place to get off the grid really. That they're anywhere you go, they're just monitoring everybody, and they can even see through the eyes. So they are putting up three things in space to monitor more shields. So I gotcha. It's scared, scared. All right. Elections and economics. Some early accounts from the 1990s describe that the program as most advanced AI or statistical confidence engine. For most example, the allegedly predicted with high confidence 80% raising interest rates led to the recession or ascended the economic impact of a specific presidential win. The 2030 Doomsday, more recent fringe series from the groups like Guardians of Looking Glass have claimed that the device predicts a catastrophic high energy event in 2030. Oh, okay, Raccoon. So Raccoon's saying they use the Archimedes as a smoke and screen to hide the other launches. Okay, so the other ones are like smoke and mirrors. I got you. The specific attacks. Some claims include predictions of specific events, scenarios such as a truck bomb in Times Square or biological attack in Washington, D.C., used as red flags to warn about the shifting toward negative timelines. A common theme in these stories is that the machine had a viewing limit, 13-month window. Some accounts state that devices could only reliably predict outcomes roughly 13 months into the future before the data became too unstable or fell off the cliff. Unpredictability. After coverage, many theorists suggest that after the 2012-2016 period, the future became entirely unpredictable to devices, leading to its alleged uh, decommissioning of the move toward other forms of predictive programming to maintain control. Marked pyramids are for storage using grain like grain and rice. And that's what Tone asks. The other wild stuff I allegedly heard was about the Whitman. Only one went for show, the rest sat in Missouri. Oh, okay. Thanks for the info. Okay. And let's see about this right here. Right, Joshua LeBlanc, 1996 2025, was a NASA aerospace electrical engineer whose mysterious death in 20, I mean, in July, let's see, 2025 has become a central topic in modern conspiracy theorists. Theories, Project Looking Glass, and disappearing scientists. All right, let's see right here. All right, so let's go here. I mean, uh, if so, then why? What about ice pyramids? I don't. I doubt grains would survive in climate. Yeah, right. And the news saying we sent all the B to overseas. Oh well, one landed in Qatar or Qatar. Conspiracy theories are coming true. Yeah, raccoon. I'd say conspiracy theories are just a preview into what is actually going on. Right. But Mark said I just lost interest in pyramids. My mental health was more important. Scared. All right. So Lee Blanc, 29-year-old native to Iberia, Louisiana, worked at NASA Marshall Space Fighter Center and he specialized in nuclear propulsion projects. In July 22, 2025, LeBlanc vanished after failing to show up to work, and his Tesla Model 3 was later found crashed and burned beyond recognition in rural area of Florence, Alabama, approximately 2 hours from his home. Unusual details. Family members noted that several red flags, including fact that his phone, wallet, and dog were left at his apartment. Vehicle data showed his car sat on the Huntsville International Airport for 4 hours before taking an uncharacteristic detour into the rural backroads. Mark said, okay, let's see. Raccoon said, I think that the Intel and AI and aliens are about to crash out on us all. Yeah, yeah. I believe it, definitely. This man says going down the Nutella rabbit hole. Oh yeah, that's because they had Nutella on the Archimedes. Oh, AJ, I definitely agree with you that everything is happening before our eyes without us even, like something's happening, something's going to happen, and through a Christian perspective, there is, these things will appear at some point. Oh, thank you, Brig. Glad to have you on board. And Brig, it's all I'm on because I got everything fixed. So I'm back on. So and AJ says I think the civilization beyond the ice walls are about to rise. Oh, interesting. And the government doesn't want us to know about it. That's true. Yeah. Oh, yellow rain again. Oh, yes, that is true, Moki. Even non Christians recognize that something weird is happening. And I'm glad that they are also recognizing something too. Well, I know that non Christians are recognizing it. All I'm saying is that there's a Revelations talk about these beings that look like frogs, and they resemble the Greys. But that's only from Revelations. So that is something that I was talking about specifically from Revelations that they talk about. But I am glad to know also, which I have seen on the YouTube lives, that people that are non-Christian are also noticing something, and so I'm glad that we could all find a common ground that something is up. The Christians and non-Christians alike. Raccoon says one thing I didn't tell you about is the Iraq in detail was that the guy told me was that they saw the seven UFO that made the vehicles shake but silent and said they weren't over the ICBM cruiser. Ah, okay. Ah, okay. Yeah, exactly. Makes sense. Oh, and Noki said that's a psyop. Yeah, there's an alien army heading towards Earth right now. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it at this point with all the crazy things going on. I wouldn't doubt it, but if it's a psyop or not, I'm still scared. All right. Unusual details. The family members noted that several red flags. Indeed. All right. The pattern. His death often cited with by researchers of the disturbing patterns of at least 12 nuclear scientists and aerospace engineers who had died or gone missing under suspicious circumstances since 2022. And here's the connections to Project Looking Glass that we're talking about. Well, well, there is no specific agreement linking to Project Looking Glass. The secret time viewing technology discussed previously turns interest. Internet theorists often connected this death to a program for two main reasons. Raccoon said, and I thought the dude was crazy because I didn't see the UFO up camping until like 15 years or 20 years later. But the ranger was freaked out as freaked out as F and said there were looking at nuclear stuff. Yeah, a lot of these, especially UAP, was talking about the UFOs, and he documents them over. He's another user on here. He documents them in New Zealand, and they seem like they're going over nuclear sites a lot. Yeah, and Sarvel says David Wilcox also said disclosure was immediate to a few days before he died. Oh, you see, what David Wilcock did was that dude talked about the elites and the the stuff that the like Illuminati does, that dude was really exposing a lot of things, not just aliens. So they're all suspicious that he's not here. And there are these people from ancient aliens within this time span have passed away. It's really weird, and they need to keep Giorgio Tsoukalos safe because he was like the mascot of that franchise. So it's scared. All right, and the nuclear expertise proponents of the ancient theory claim that looking glass technology relies on advanced physics and nuclear propulsion concepts similar to those that LeBlanc was reportedly researching at NASA. I actually wonder if UFO experiments have something to do with me growing up in Montana, where all of the nuclear missiles are, and then go into Iraq, where they were thinking about dropping a little. And yeah, exactly, Raccoon. And okay, I don't know every single thing David exposed. To me, the weirdest thing that he exposed was the Illuminati elites, because the alien stuff to me is obvious and straightforward. I'm glad he did that. But the thing that I think even tips the scale more is that he was confirming about a lot of these conspiracy theories about what these we call them elites or what the Illuminati type people do. And because it's that when I was noticing he was talking about all these things in Hollywood and stuff like that, I was just like, okay, he knew a lot of things are going on. And as I told you, the fallen entities that are the reptilians and probably some of the Greys or all the Greys, or and these evil groups are linked together somehow. What the Christians would call demons, and what other people might call, aliens that are bad. Something we can all find a common ground on. So they're both of those things are linked together. I wonder if Gerald needs a hand. I'm free with this weekend. Mark's gonna help out Gerald the dolphin. All right, Raccoon said, "It seems a common thing. Aliens are not trying to have the Earth blown up. That's, I think, yeah. That definitely seems true. Now, I do think that there are a variety of different theories. Okay, that are true. I believe in all the theories. So this is going to sound complicated. So here we go. I believe that aliens, the reptilians, and these evil entities that are abducting people and doing bad things to people may be part of some sort of demonic, um, or if they're not demonic, some interdimensional being that's working with the force of darkness. And I believe that there are aliens from other planets, or something like that may not really be against us or may want to help us. And oh, hello, little angel. Uh, Glad to see you here. Glad that you're here. All right. I was getting the internet prepared so we could have more smooth streams. So it's and little angel, you're asking about me the other time during the Hawaii trial. I was okay, and I'm also doing good now. So appreciate you. All right, so David was speaking so much truth. Yeah, exactly, Mark. Because we both agree that there are shape shifting politicians that are reptilian. And yeah, so I do believe there's interdimensional beings that come from here to this realm. Now, in ancient theology, Baal and Moloch were the Canaanites and worshipped, and also at some point the Israelites worshipped too. At some points when they're disobeying the God of Abraham, the that entity still seems to be prevalent today in challenging the God of the Bible and other beliefs and non-religious people too. It's everybody that's good, even if they don't believe in Christianity or the other religions. This veil thing is attacking because the the evil is still there and wants to do what it did before. So I believe there's a distinction because sometimes, like, I want to try to avoid generalizing everything into one box, because that's something that I think could be a dangerous thing to do. So I categorize it in different boxes like that. And of course, those are my theories. I don't know what is or what isn't, but that's what I think. Now, there is Raccoon. You could talk about Iraq as much as you want. We talk about Iraq here because there's the Gil. Now, if you know anything about this Raccoon, inform me. There's something called the Gilgamesh tomb that was retrieved by the Clintons allegedly, and that was in Iraq, and it was about 8 foot tall or so, and or maybe even taller than that, and he's still like in a sleep state, and apparently he's an antichrist, and there's some technology with it that they're trying to get, and that's what the Iraq War had to do with. So no, this is a place where you could talk about these things. Yes, and and we have the and Alex, Alex Jones talked about it too. Like um, there's our realm. There's all these like a beehive and like a staircase of all these other types of things that exist there. Mark said, "I'll be a dolphin. I will be dolphins god." There you go. They told me Enoch was from Baghdad. I don't answers. Okay, Raccoon. And so there's one thing that I want you all to also know is that the aliens have this type of energy that is would be able to power up the planet and make our world more energy efficient, where it would cause the economy, the collapse of all the other types of entities that exist. Like, say, like you have all these objects from the aliens that would give us free energy. This would cause all these oil companies and electric companies to go out of business. So they don't want people to know about these things, so they do what they can to try to censor it. And I guess they could cure disease and do things better like that. Okay, Raccoon, understood. And I believe the Watchers are real. You know, obviously. I believe a lot of those things are entities that we see. All right, so this is something that I was talking to Mark about last time, but now we're talking to y'all about it now. So, the Crabwood Crop Circle, which appeared in on August 2015, 2002, near the Winchester, England, is one of the most famous and debated formations in the world. It features a large, shaded gray alien face and spiraling circular disc containing a message encoded in 8 binary ASCII code. I like that wolf profile picture tone. That's nice. It's crazy how they want to stop it and censor it for money, literal paper. Oh, I know. And they have gold and silver that they probably buy with it, I suppose. But definitely for paper money or precious metals, they'll harness it. Like, for instance, Rockefeller, for instance. Epstein talked a lot about this in his final interview. But with the Rockefeller Institute, where you have all these different people who created the systems we have today that eventually funnel the money upward to them. They don't want their system to be taken out, and they only care about money. And it's kind of crazy in science fiction. Oh, I am joked out. It's actually your fat cat. It looked like a wolf from the Winter Mountains. See, on my computer, it can be a little bit difficult to see things clearly the way that the chat room looks on the computer. And all right, well, that's a fierce cat, fierce feline right there. Raccoon said, "I don't know what it is, but I know there was a palace with paintings of watchers, scrolls, and lots of good bars. I took a dump and went on the next objective." Hilarious. Hilarious. Right. Beware of the bearers of false gifts. So this is what the binary code. There's a crop circle in 2002 with a gray alien on it with a circle next to it. And beware of the bearers of false gifts, of their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Believe this. Good is out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Bell sound. Oh, thank you, AJ. I enjoy doing it at 5 a.m. It's fun to do. I do it every night, and I like looking at the different plants. And yeah, last night I went. I didn't hold back last night at all. I never hold back, but I went really off. That was a really good conversation. All right, the artistic complexity. Unlike the earlier geometric crop circles that use raster technique, variety of angles and density of flattened wheat are create shade of 3D effects in the alien space. And you see, so there's a crop circle that was created by aliens, and they're warning us that there's aliens that are trying to give us free technology, and those aliens are not to be trusted because if they control the energy systems, we're controlled by them. So it's telling us to not trust those aliens, but they were good aliens, right? And someone said, yeah, it's like a sort of crouching when their backs stick up, and there's like a pole next to him. Oh yeah, someone. I see. Yeah. All right, the disc. The circular disc beside the face contains a sequence of 1104 binary bits. Precision. The design spanned nearly 250 feet. Researchers noted that the precision required to encode a legible multi-sentence message, a binary within a spiral pattern in a single night. Oh, I love that name tone. He said Leonardo. His name of the cat is Leonardo DiCaprio. Nice. Jay said, "Do you believe that we've actually been to the moon?" Okay, I believe that at some point we probably went to the moon at some point, but I don't know if the '69 moon landing was completely what they said it was, because it may have not been. But definitely, they had a tin can that they went to the moon on, and the tin can, they weren't able to go back to the moon for 50 years, and now they're all of a sudden able to go back, but kind of like go orbit it and come back here. So I have some questions about it, but we probably went there, but not when they said they went there. Yeah, it's kind of I have suspicions about it. especially if you look at the moon footage, it's like, it's kind of silly. And chemtrails real or psyop? I believe the chemtrails are real, Raccoon. Um, remember when I was at PE with my alien bro, and we would see like this big X appear in the sky, and they would be dumping chemtrails on people. They could, and people are seeing them everywhere. And there was a whistleblower that Moki told me about that was saying how there were people all over the place who were, you know, were doing these chemtrails, and there's one of them was a whistleblower, and the whistleblower was saying that they put dangerous chemicals in those chemtrails to spray on us. So, and it's alleged, of course, but that's so there are whistleblowers. I read a Harvard, article about it, and like Harvard was saying, like, there's lots of people who are saying about that are whistleblowers when it's conspiracy theory, which gives more credibility to it. And the government is not to be trusted, but since there wasn't any whistleblowers at the time, it's like when a plane's out very high up in the atmosphere, it might look like that with the spraying the chemtrails. But deliberate chemtrails, there seems to be suspicion about it. But then Moki had the whistleblower right there, from that was talking about it. So since there's whistleblowers, that adds more credibility to it. Yeah. And they could cause things with weather. They could cause things with health or allergies. A variety of different things can be causing. I just think it's very suspicious about the chemtrails, and that it's true. Extraterrestrial contact. So many believers suggest that this was a digital response to the 1974 Arecibo message sent into space by NASA, or a warning from a friendly race like the Andromedians or a different faction of the Greys about deceptive entities. Oh, you agree, Angel? Facts. AJ said, kind of off topic, but I've always wondered why the government decided to call people from other countries illegal aliens. Yeah, if that's a good question, AJ. And the mainstream narrative would be that it's an old-fashioned term. Alien means something that's foreign. Like that's what the definition of an alien is. Back in the old days, they used the word alien frequently, so it's probably an older word term that they used, and then alien became just associated with visitors from outer space. And yeah, because alien had originally a different meaning to it, but now we would call it something like that. But it's probably from the time period it was coined. They're just alien to the land. Right. Right. Uh, correct, Angel. And so J Rod connection. The context of J Rod and Project Looking Glass lore we discussed. Sometimes theorists believe this message refers to the broken promises of the future human greys, or as a warning about the timeline coverage predicted from 2012. Human craft ship. Skeptics and land artists point out to the complex pictorial designs can be created using computer software, GPS, and traditional crop circling tools. Planks and ropes. And the use of ASCLL. The human developed an encoding system is often cited by skeptics as proof of human hoax. All right. Tone says there was never meant to be and borders cross any part of Earth, and we are all meant to live as one coming and going freely as will. All right. And Angel says people, aliens, are mentioned in scripture, it doesn't mean little green men from other planet. It just means stranger. Okay, Angel. Yeah, because an alien meant something before it meant what it means now. And human craftsman, human craftsmanship. The skeptics and land artists point out that complex pictorial designs can be created using computer software, GPS, and traditional crop circling tools, planks and ropes. The use of ACLL, human development encoding system, is often cited by skeptics as proof of human hoax. Right, Angel said Americans who travel to foreign countries would be aliens to that land. Okay, I see. Thank you. All right, let's see this. Researchers have recently uncovered a massive prehistoric archive in Woken Cavern, a hidden cave system directly beneath the 11th century Pembroke Castle in Wales. Long thought to have been cleared of artifacts by Victorian era explorers, new excavations revealed remarkably intact sediment layers containing a continuous record of life, spanning over 100,000 years. Okay. I think what Angel's doing fine. She's doing fine, Raccoon. And let's see, she's doing fine. The USC go home. The USMC go anywhere on Earth. And it's their home. Uh, yeah, and no, but she's saying that technically, Raccoon, if a human, if a like an American goes to another country, it would be technically an alien on another soil. Like if, like you say, China, like North Korea, for instance, right? Well, although we have allies with many countries around the world, that we're basically like our own home. Like uh, Europe and other countries, we would be seen as being right at home. But if you stay there for a long period of time, their countries have these policies where they would maybe want to send us back here if we were not, if stay with a certain time frame, whatever. So these different countries have these different laws, especially North Korea or these Russia, China. They would definitely would see us as an alien. Yes, and Raccoon. Let's see. Yeah. So what Tone is saying that the topic was about the everyone's free to say anything they want through free speech, but basically, yeah, because he was not making a conversation about that topic, and he was just focusing on the conversation. That's what he was meaning, and yeah, and let's see. So, but that's what she was trying to say. That if although if someone goes to another country, they would be seen. An American goes to another country, they would be seen as an alien in the other country. Yeah. Now we have countries we're more friendly with than other countries. But like there's a guy in North Korea that was like executed pretty much for taking a propaganda poster. They see us as an alien. So yeah, just the main point had nothing to do with anything political. but it was just that there's the word alien means something that's foreign from a foreign land or a foreign place or a stranger. That was the point that we're trying to make. All right, now continue. Shout out to all of you. Appreciate you all for being here. And your 1,220-year-old hippo bones. All right, 120,000-year-old hippo bones, well-preserved remains of the hippopotamus that roamed the region during a much warmer intergalactic period. The Ice Age Megafauna. Fauna. The fossils of extinct species such as the mammoths, woolly rhinoceroses and reindeer, and wild horses. Early human activity. The stone tools and signs of repeated settlement by hunter-gatherers approximately 11,500 years ago. Some of the Britain's earliest Homo sapiens 45,000, 35,000 years ago. The potential traces of even right. The Greenbro Castle trust as secured funding for a new 5-year investigation. Beginning May 2026, the process will use advanced scientific method, including sediment DNA analysts, to identify the presence of ancient humans and animals, even where physical bones may be missing. All right, let's see. Oh, all right, and let's see this. Yeah, and I think with these ancient studies that happen, it's very cool to see that so many of these different alien encounters have occurred. It's important for people to understand these concepts. I mean, it is good that there's more research about the aliens being talked about, and and let's see, let's do this. Okay, how about this? Let's see, let's do it like this and go there. Yeah. All right, and going this way. Let's see. Management. Okay. Want to know what's going on in Thailand pyramids? Let's talk about the crazy yes. Yes. One moment, everybody. All right, I'm back now. So that is we'll talk about the Thailand pyramids. Yes. All right. The recent the pyramid in Mexico. Okay. Let's do that. Let's talk about the pyramid in Mexico, and then we'll talk about the Thailand pyramids. Oh yeah, absolutely. The Link to Darkness, definitely. Okay, on April 20th, 2026, the a lone gunman opened fire on tourists in the Pyramid of Moon within the Teotihuacan archaeological site outside Mexico City. The attack resulted in the death of 32-year-old Canadian woman and left at least 13 other tourists injured. Wow. I flew over Egyptian pyramids in one time, and there was nothing compared to the up down South America or Asia or allegedly their stuff in Arctic. I agree. I believe it. I'm glad that you were able to confirm that. And our time, nothing compared to the crap down in South America, Asia, allegedly. Yeah, definitely some crazy things down there in South America. There's also something called the Monkey God, too. Yeah, landing platform. Right. Right. The shooter. Authorities identified the perpetrator as Julio Ramirez, a 27-year-old Mexican national. He positioned himself atop the pyramid in the moon approximately 11:30 a.m., firing an old 38 caliber revolver at visitors while shouting references to ancient sacrifices. Lord. The victims among the 13 injured were 6 Americans, 3 Colombians, who 2 Brazilians, 1 Russian, and another Canadian. Some injuries were caused by gunfire, while others resulted from tourists jumping off the structure to escape. The ending. After the brief confrontation with National Guard, the gunman shot and deleted himself on the pyramid platform. All right, let's see. Motive and investigation. Investigators discovered a backpack belonging to Jasso or Hasso containing literal AI generated photos related to 1999 Columbine High School massacre. AI generated photos related, and the attack took place in the 27th anniversary of the Columbine shooting and Adolf Hitler's birthday. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum stated the shooter appeared to be a copycat influenced by violent events abroad rather than organized crime. Okay. And Ori said, I'm lurking because hanging out with the 2 sons this eve, watching Daredevil series and eating homemade gourmet grilled cheese sandwich with roasted seasoned chicken, bacon, and avocado. Oh, delicious. I love that. Very delicious. Also, I will say that it's all free speech here, and taking personal shots at people with different opinions, I don't like. But people could disagree and agree to disagree. But I just don't like personal shots at other people is not something that I like. But people could attack the argument, but not the person. And also, the topic right now is about the pyramids in these different parts of the world, by the way. And I just want to throw it out there. Yeah, I like free speech, but we have to do it properly. And security response. The site reopened in April 2022, 2026. Under a heavy presence of the National Guard, new security measures are being implemented across major Mexican landmarks ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Oh, okay, Raccoon, understood. Hey, you're good, Raccoon. You're good. Oh, Moki, thank you for. I hope everything gets resolved. Wow. Stay safe. And yeah, cops on the way. Yeah, wow. Thank you, Moki, for the update. Scared. Yeah, Raccoon, you're cool. Um, and we all have those days, you know. And uh, Little Angel says it was also the end of the Oklahoma City bombing on 19th, in addition to Columbine and Hitler's birthday. Yeah, it seems like a dark time period, a dark day. Yeah, and remember the Oklahoma City bombing? I know about that too. Yeah. The site reopened on April 22, 2026, under a heavy presence of National Guard. New security measures are being implemented across major Mexican landmarks ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, including checkpoints. National Guard units are now checking documents and bags at site entrances. Equipment. Plans have been announced to install metal detectors and X ray scanners at archaeological sites. Restricted access. Climbing the pyramid of the moon has temporary suspended following the incident. Like you said, stupid effing kids fighting someone, crash into her neighbor's car. Kids sped away. Oh, that's so stupid. We knew whose house they came from, and they were about to fight. Scared, scared. Lord. Well, yeah, that's just so cringe. Wow. And Lori said, "What? Hitler's not allowed to have his birthday on 420." Yeah, he probably would be upset about it because he wouldn't want the uh, he probably would want to keep the Wii for himself to calm himself down from uh, the other things he was probably taking. Right? Yeah, it's like and Lori, it's like can you get a break on 420 to have a birthday that's where everybody can smoke and chill. Yeah, hilarious Lori. And oh, he said neighbors were about to fight. I mean, oh, okay, wow, yeah, that's really rough. A little excitement on a Thursday, yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's almost like an action movie. Right? Right. So let's see, the Thailand pyramids. Sh- very good, very good, Moki. I definitely agree. She says I'm siding with the neighbor who gave me tamales after Mike died. Yep, yep. There, yep. You can't complain there. Definitely. Oh yeah, Lori, absolutely. Very good point about the neighborhood drama. Yes, Raccoon, you could have tamales. The spaceship has deluxe tamales from Loki's neighbor. Oh, it's Thailand. Well, he said, Lori, we're okay. It's really just this one house that causes problems. The kid lives there and has 2 billion kids over, and I think the father gets them beer, drugs, or something. Oh lord, that scared, scared. Yeah, and she lives in a nice neighborhood too. Yeah, you have those hoodlums. You know, they really need to put cap on that. Yeah, yeah, I've seen The Martian before, and let's see, it was a good movie. Yeah, The Martian was very good, had a very good story arc, and a very good description of what life would be like going to Mars. People would go there to explore. Yeah, I think it was an excellent movie, AJ. Right. Well, Thailand has. My thoughts are I'd be deleted if I was left on Mars. Scared. Yeah, Moki, Passion and I did a whole stream one time about what it would be like if we went to Mars. And when we had this thing where we even figured out a way to make Mars into like Earth and how we would do that. Yeah, and definitely with oh, so there's a thing if with Mars where they would have to have bases underground to live there. But if you put it above ground, you have to have these different safety bunkers or safety areas if we got hit by a the sun's rays. Sometimes they just hit the planet. Right. And that was something that I thought was quite interesting. But the Mars, we would have to get objects of materials from an asteroid to make a giant like thing to mix up and spin the to jumpstart the planet to bring it like Earth again. Kind of like a cake batter mixing the core, and then it would be able to jumpstart the planet again. Because it used to be like Earth, but now it isn't. Like it's been like shut off. While Thailand does not have Giza-style smooth-sided pyramids, it is home to several ancient steep pyramids and tower-like structures called prangs that are often referred to as Thailand's pyramids. The most notable of these is the Kaho Kahao Klang Nok, located in Sea Therp Historical Park, which was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2023. Or he said, I just want to say shout out to Alien. It isn't easy to host such an eclectic group and address such wide variety of potentially controversial topics. Great job, friend. Oh, thank you, Lori, so much. It means a lot to me. And I am thankful for the feedback. And yeah, I love my eclectic group because I always believe with trial chat they could have allowed topics to be discussed that weren't discussed, but done properly. So here I'm trying out the experiment, and to have the eclectic group of different people, and we will air trials here. By the way, we will, and yeah, that's I want to do. So thank you, Lori. Appreciate it. Raccoon said, "No food, no water, no come any alone, no way to get home. Day after day, sand, Iraq." A raccoon, were you in the military or curious? And I imagine it's like lots of desert in Iraq. Tons of it. And description: the massive. Oh, okay, Sargrill. See you in the garden later. Good night. All right. In description: this massive lateral structure dates back to Dyrati period, 6th 11th century. It is 64-meter square steeped monument that shades roughly 5 to 20 meter tall today, though it was much likely much higher originally. Purpose: while it resembles a pyramid, it is considered a Mahayana Buddhist stupa built to represent the center of the universe. Located: the ancient capital, this temple features a high, steeped pyramid foundation that visitors can climb. Its name literally translate the Temple of the Golden Mountain. All right. Oh, okay, raccoon understood. And that's what you would imagine that Mars is like. Yes, I would think that Mars would be very similar to how Iraq would be. It would be lots of deserts and very hot. Now it's even more crazy than Mars is. Now if I did a live stream from Mars, it would take about there would be a 20-minute delay from here on Earth from what y'all see, and we would have to have something in the middle to connect the two. But yeah, definitely there's these solar blasts that hit the Earth, but definitely it would be quite wild. But it's like basically Iraq on steroids. All right, description: smaller pointed structures located near the Wat Pho Temple complex in Bangkok, which serves as a funerary monument. Regional comparison: the true pyramids of Southeast Asia. Travelers search for pyramids in Thailand can often be the Prasit Thumb, which is actually just across the border in Cambodia. It is 36-meter high sandstone pyramid that strongly resembles those found in Mesoamerica. Okay. Archaeologists and research have recently identified several significant structures and materials hidden beneath major pyramids in Egypt, Mexico, and Thailand using non invasive scanning technology. All right, Raccoon says it's cold AF in Iraq. Then it's like 150 Fahrenheit in a 7 hour cycle. Iraq equals Mars. I got you. Okay. And in Iraq, I know within those desert lands, there are lots of people who are. It's like cold at night and hot during the day. That is beyond brutal. Indeed. It's very very rough to live in there. Definitely. And Egypt, Great Pyramid of Giza, and breakthrough announced for 2026. Let's see. Raccoon says that's all I'm trying to say. After today, you don't have enough water bottles, and people are shooting at you. And half the day, you're freezing and cuddling naked another marine in a sand hole. Ah, okay. That's definitely reminds me of even worse or just as bad as being in the trenches of Europe during the World War I. And yeah, absolutely. Definitely there during hurricane disasters when there's flooding, they had to hide water from people that were going to ride over it. A very rough terrain. I salute you for dealing with such conditions. Yes. And a breakthrough announced for 2026. The research using the yes, and thank you, Raccoon, for your service. I appreciate it. And a breakthrough announced for 2026. The researchers using ion radiology and robotic cameras confirmed that a 30-meter long hidden corridor behind the pyramid's north face. Sealed door. The corridor leads to a mysterious sealed stone door to Egyptologists believe could guard the king Khufu's actual burial chamber or another artifacts of extreme value. Hey, Raccoon said, "Lord, don't thank me. He got dishonorably discharged for disobeying orders when he was in Scott Recon and Special Forces for carrying 11 men out. I was ordered not to. You're losing 3 after." Well, Raccoon ran back and forth fast I could, and then there was a hemorrhage out. Oh no, here. Well, in my eyes, Raccoon, I think that you were loyal to your men and you were trying to do what you could for your fellow troops, and I still thank you for what you did for us. And I'm glad and honored to have you here with us in the chat. And the sealed door. The corridor leads to a mysterious sealed stone door that Egyptologists believe could guard the king's tomb and other artifacts and extreme valuables. The yeah, that it takes a lot of courage to go into that field to begin with, like what Angel was saying. Most wouldn't even stand up to the plate, and definitely, the intentions matter. And Raccoon said, I freaked out, little angel, running in the line convoy with blanket on, thinking the lead vehicle is going to blow, so she's begging for water. I go nuts and start carrying people to medic. Yeah, that's a very stressful situation, Raccoon. Well, we've watched we watch trials here, and like there is a time where like sometimes where like if there's a school shooting, sometimes police don't always like go into the area where the shooter is, but you were on the front lines, like in a very stressful situation. It's always about the intentions of the action, and none of us are perfect. We all do things that are wrong or may fall short, but the intentions are in the right place. So you being there in the front lines is more braver than most Americans could ever be. Dishonorable orders should not be obeyed. Like I believe that you did what was right, Raccoon. The people that were in charge is using people as cannon fodder. They did something wrong, but you didn't. You did the right thing, in my opinion. And the to uh, thank you, Lori. And recent electrical recivility. Like if there is a fire happening, you go in and save somebody. When a lot of people just stand outside and count their fingers. Like remember, these police they didn't go into the where the shooter was because for various reasons. But you would have gone in there. You would have went right in there. That's what you would have done. Exactly. And Raccoon, I believe that's a good mentality to have. By the way, facts. Oh, good, Moki. Glad that they have it on camera. That's good. Oh, okay, Raccoon. Well, you see, the thing is that even if you were scared, you still went in there because people could be scared and go into the fire anyway. So that's normal to feel that way. But I'm glad that you had enough discipline to go through what you had to do for your fellow Marines, regardless of what the higher ups wanted you to do. You did what was right for your fellow Marines because a lot of people wouldn't even show up. Moki, if there's something tomorrow, I'll go look at it and I'll see about playing it on our channel, okay? Because now I can play a trial. Because the internet should be different now than it used to be. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'll be on live tomorrow about something. If the trial isn't on at all, I'll be on either way. Yeah, cops of course still are not here because no one has been murdered. Oh, okay, Mookie. I'm glad they had it on camera. Raccoon, you look good in the broken mirror. And as I said, I feel you did the right thing. All right, so there's a couple of recent electrical. Uh, exactly, Lori. That is real bravery, not the pseudo bravery so many of us claim to have. Right, and oh, okay, Moki. That's 8:30. No, that is 7:30 your time. Is or maybe 9:30 my time, I guess. Yeah, 9:30 my time. Okay, thanks, Moki. I'll be glad to play it for y'all. And this stream has not dropped one frame. Usually we've dropped like 1,000 frames usually, but here we are, just still going. And Raccoon says sometimes I'm like, you did the right thing, Candy Cane, and sometimes I'm like, you failed 3 Marines and disobeyed orders. Well, Raccoon, the fact that you have that conviction about yourself is a good thing. That you could self-analyze and correct anything that you feel you didn't. And remember, it's sometimes, especially in war, there's no right choice you could have done. Sometimes either choice was bad. But I think, as I said, you did the right thing. But a lot of people, Raccoon, don't have the self-analyzing capability to analyze they did something wrong. Most people, especially the criminals we see in these trials, don't care at all, and they just do all kinds of things without analyzing what they did that could be wrong. So, yeah, self-analyzing, self-criticism, I think, is a positive thing, but to not let it get to you too much. Right. Anything that fails, there are lessons learned if there's failures, and there are learning experiences too. All right, Pyramid of the Sun. All right, Raccoon said, "Well, they told me to make sure that everyone came back and I didn't die, and they told me how to do combat medic stuff to keep people alive until they could get out, and they taught me how." Okay. Yeah, Raccoon, the fact that you went in there to try to save them was the a very important thing to do. And as I said, sometimes there's and I, understands like there's sometimes you can't always get it right and there's always hindsight 2020. But the fact that you tried to do something is important because evil rises when good men do nothing. You could have done nothing, and there's cowards out there too, and you're not one of them. So you did the best you could in the situation you're put in. And it's a situation that most of us will never even see. Okay? Most Americans will never even be in some sort of situation like that. And a lot of people, as I said, there's a school shooting, and the police officers are outside playing with their fingers and doing nothing while a dude shooting up a school. But you would have went in there and charged in there. A lot of people would. Yeah, that is right. You didn't give up. I'm glad you did it. And I'm glad that there's brave men like you defending our country against all the evil out there. Because, if a democracy republic fell, there would be no more free places on earth. So that's why it's important that we have people with good hearts and good morals, and people the higher ups can be wrong. Like people that are higher up can do things that are wrong. So it's just your gut intuition and trusting that the dots will somehow connect in the future. And researchers previously found the liquid mercury mica hundreds of mysterious golden spheres in tunnels below the temple, which may have represented the cosmic landscape with the shimmering lakes. Oh, thank you, Lori. I appreciate it. All right. Supporting figures elaborate on Oh, hello, fish. Oh, this is what I do. I do phone lives in like early morning, and I also do lives on the computer. Too. Raccoon said I carry 11, and he was like 155 back then. What do you guys want from me? I'll start shooting, and if I'm scared and someone is in danger, LL. Yeah, I said fear is a normal emotion to feel, and it can be used as a advantage. You know that when you feel the emotion of fear, it's like it can be used for a variety of different things. I know fish. The They are very skilled at those things in time travel and going across the universe. That is definitely something that they're very skilled at. That I think many of us wish that we would have had, and they probably get the technology. They could get it from some higher being, or they get it from inventing it over time. Here, any new trials up? No interest in FedEx or Folio. Okay, Folio. I don't know. I'll go look into it, a little Angel. If there's some other trials that can be played, but I I'd have to go look into it. In the context of unidentified anomalous phenomena, anti-gravity refers to a hypothesized propulsion system that allows craft to move without traditional lift or thrust. Researchers and whistleblowers often link this to extraterrestrial technology that manipulates the fabric of space-time. And traveling space needs a lot of knowledge and correlations and energy. Yes. Oh, I you heard about the claw technology? Oh, little angel. I know I can play. Thor. I'm glad to know I can play what I want, and I just want to also look up the different trials that are in existence that we could also probably play as well, just to see out of curiosity and what also could be played. Because I appreciate the feedback. Thank you. Yeah. So also I learned AI called Claude. Okay. So let's go into that. Let's see. Yes, fish. That theory is that the future humans are them. The future humans are those AI. Though it could be the gray aliens, quite possibly. All I had was a cow dog, 3030 landing lights, and fear. Nest dog scared me. She was so scared. Scared. Right on, fish. Yeah, raccoon, and that is an extremely uh, dramatic thing to experience. 30-30 landing lights and fear. Nest dog scared, and yeah. And I think that, let's see, it is, and the fact is that the like things could come, fear, things could come, and it's up to us to decide, what is, like our reaction to things, because it could come. Death smiles at us all. All man can do is smile back. It's how we handle the situations, also. So yeah, very scary. And raccoon, I definitely think that a dog and animals are very sensitive to these types of things. They're sensitive to different mechanisms of the spiritual realm, like cats are, and it's a very traumatic to experience the when you're camping and the dog is scared of this UFO thing that is visiting. So I definitely agree. All right, and Claude is a suit of a large language model (LLMS), an AI tools developed by Anthropic company, founded by former OpenAI executives with a focus on safety first AI development. The technology is designed to be thinking partner that can handle complex coding and large scale data analysts. All right, this is core technology of architecture. Constitutional AI. Unlike other models that rely solely on human feedback, the RLHF Claude is trained using a constitution, a set of rules and principles like the UN Declaration of Homeland Security. And the AI uses to critique, refine its own behavior. This aims to make it more reliable, more viable, honest, and harmless. Nessie fought a bear to protect Eleanor when she was 18 months. As she woke up when the UFO showed up. Oh, you thought a bear was coming to the tent. Wow. Yes, Earth has plants and wood. You're right, Fish. Earth is a very unique place of resources that other areas of the galaxy don't have. Yeah, they may have mined our planet for certain things. Large context window. Claude features an industry leading context window, typically 20,000 tokens, roughly 150,000 words, with some enterprise tiers and newer models supporting up to 1 million tokens. This allowed to process the entire code bases or long technical documents in one go. Hybrid reasoning. The newer models like Claude 3.7 Sonnet feature an extended thinking mode, allowing the AI performed steep by steep reasoning before outputting a final answer, which is particularly effective for complex logic encoding. Raccoon said, "I don't know what was going on. I thought all I have is 30-30 F bear Ness, and then wins to out the satellites. Ah, yeah. It must have been very startling because it wasn't a bear. Right. Fish. That is very possible. It's very possible. I think that may have been a a method of how we could have gotten here. Another thing that could have happened was we could have came from Mars. There's billions of years ago, allegedly we came from Mars and came back here. Oh, that's cool little angel about the documentary. Raccoon is suddenly makes that rifle seem wonderfully inadequate. Yeah, when you see this UFO thing hovering there, it's scared. The Sonnet, the workhorse model that balances speed and high intelligence. It is often the default choice for general use. Opus, the most powerful frontier model built for deep research, complex coding, and navigating high levels of ambiguity. Fish, I believe animals do. At the very least, they have spirits, but they definitely, in my opinion, have souls. They're different than humans, but yeah, they have souls. Yeah, Lori's scared. Key features of the ecosystem: the Claude code, a specialized command line agent that runs locally on your computer to read, write, and execute code directly within your file system. Your artifacts, dedicated workspace in the chat interference where Claude can generate and new preview interactive content like websites, code snippets, and its arms in real time. Alan came out groggy and took the picture. She asked why it was bright. I'm like, dude, UFO lights. Scared. The dog and oh wow, wow, yeah. Yeah, they are very bright. Now it's yeah, fish. It definitely depends on the circumstances. We are the predators. Yes, we would be, but of course, some might be definitely some animals and other creatures might be the predators too. So yes, we are on top of the food chain. We can be predators or protectors. That's the thing. We can either be predators or protectors, and that's definitely what it is. You very well said, fish. Computers use a compatibility with Claude. It can move a cursor, click buttons, and type text, perform multi-step tasks across different desktop applications. Projects, a feature for pro and enterprise users, allow you to ground Claude's response in a specific knowledge base, such as a style guides or internal documentation. Oh, thank you, Lori. That's it. I hate to say this, but maybe we are just subjects from ones above studying and was creating infinite results. That's true. That could be. Raccoon says we are freaking Eleanor too. The Ness, a solid dog that would attack a Grizz to protect us, and terrified, a standing huge meadow with 90 UFO hovering. Yeah, yeah, that's certainly a wild thing to experience. Oh yeah, these aliens have these like technology that makes us look like sticks and stones compared to what they have. It's like having a plastic fork compared to what they have. I know. But remember, Raccoon, a lot of people wouldn't have done what you did to go to see what that thing was. So, uh, with whatever you had, that was noble of you to do. Constitutional AI is technical framework and through Mogi said to Angel, "Did you see what his ex-wife said about confronting him?" Right. And constitutional AI, the technical framework, anthropomorphic use of clone to be helpful and harmless without constant human micromanagement. Claude Code is the agentic tool that applies to these advanced models directly to software development. I think they have both. I think their tech is mostly what it is, but I think they're both linked together because the aliens can be synced with their technology. Like they both are yin and a yang to each other. Two-phase training process. Supervised phase. The model generates a response to a toxic prompt, then uses a constitutional principle to critique its own answer. It then revises the answer to be safer and is fine tuned on these improvements. All right, let's see. Okay, Moki, good night to you, and always a pleasure. Thank you for coming. Exactly, Lori. Fish. This is what I think. I think some aliens are biological robots. I think some aliens do eat. On planet Serpo, for instance, they eat some kind of like chalk type stuff. And thirdly, I think there are aliens that absorb energy, like the lizard aliens absorb dark energy. All right, Raccoon says Desmond, now 3, told me he was to the stars, and this stuff freaks me out. You can't shoot away of aliens. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Like the Giant of Kandahar, for instance, it was very difficult for the U.S. soldiers to take it out. Right. And Angel says, "Mohi, not sure. I really didn't know very much about him. Haven't followed it, so I watched documentary. Refuse to believe it." Okay, Angel, thank you. Supervised phase. The model generates response to toxic prompts and then uses the constitutional principles to critique its own answer, and then revises the answer to be safer and is fine tuned on these improvement responses. Which says, then why every planet has a core, Possible that this planet Earth is losing energy in the future? Yeah, absolutely. I believe a planet's like a machine. Absolutely, Raccoon. Because that's what happened with Mars. It's like a machine. Like the core of Mars need to be started up, and it could go like Earth again. Or if Earth shut off, it would become a big desert. Right. 2026 Constitution, the latest version, 23,000 word document designed to teach Claude wisdom rather than just rules. It encourages Claude to understand why values like honesty and safety matter so it can handle the novel situations effectively. This is how you use Claude Code. There's a command interference CLI that acts as autonomous junior developer. It lives in your terminal and has authority to read files, run tests, and commit code. The installation, the use the native installer curl -fsl bash on Mac and run the Claude to activate your browser. Raccoon said, I slept in the woods my entire life. In the military and an old man, I've never been afraid of anything like that. Dog woke me up and said, get up, this is not good before. Yeah, and they definitely give off a strange vibe to it, the UFO. Definitely. They have creepy vibes also. Very terrifying indeed. Yes, Lori, exactly. Scared. Fish says they said that planet needs water to start living matter, but without a core, it will fail. I just wonder these cells can survive and travel across the galaxy and try to adapt to meteorite. All right. Interactive session. Simply type Claude in your project folder, start conversation, plan mode. Press Shift Tab to enter plan mode, where Claude researches and outlines a strategy without editing any files yet. Essentials features for developers. Claude MD. Running Intel creates Claude MD file, and you can add your team's specific coding standards or architecture rules here so Claude follows them automatically. The Git integration. Claude can create branches, stage challenges, and write descriptive commit messages. Claude commit these challenges. The agentic loop. You can give it a complex task like fix the login bug and run tests to verify. Claude will find a file and implement the fix in your tests like MPBA tests and core self if they fail. All right. Fish says every living organism have cells, and if we combined it with a compatible one, will start life. Results are unpredictable, but it will thrive. But if it thrives, it'll evolve just like humans before. Oh, she said you're crazy. Well, shout out to the crazy ones. You see, the people that are crazy enough to think they could change the world are the ones that do. So you got that going for you in your favor. And a generic loop, you could give the complex task like fix the login bug and run testify to verify. Cloud will find the file, implement, fix, and run your tests, and self-correct if they fail. Safe execution by default. Claude asks for permission before every file or external command. You can use slash permissions to allow the trust command like ls or get status to speed things up. Exactly, Fish. Precisely. The world would just be boring without the crazy ones. Here in the spaceship, we see genius. Yeah, exactly, Lori. Many people do not understand the concept of the paranormal and the concept of these things that we see. So that is something important that people have to understand is that people can definitely know it's important to see that, right? That if you are there, you can go and see a UFO or something paranormal, and people think it's crazy, but they can't accept the actual reality of it being there. Right. Exactly. They don't understand until the result comes. That is true. Right. Yes, definitely will be interested to see when that happens. It'll be very cool. Definitely. Oh yeah, I do believe they have the power to extend life. I agree. And maybe my theory is that the aliens, like the gray aliens, that their consciousness exists in some other dimension, and they're using that as an avatar for our realm here. That's why the aliens can, the body dies, but they still exist somewhere else, and they just keep on coming back and with different clones. Claude files act as a persistent memory or instruction manual for Claude code, providing project-specific context that is automatically loaded at start of every season. It eliminates the need to repeatedly re-explain your tech stack, coding standards, or project structure. Automatic generation. Run the init command in your project directory within the Claude code terminal. Claude will scan your files and generate a first draft based on your code base's structure and detect tools. That's a reason why humans are fragile and can die at any instant. Right, exactly. The Claude file acts as a persistent memory or instruction manual for Claude code, providing project specific context that automatically loaded the start of every season. It eliminates the need to reportedly re explain your tech code and stands our project structures. How to create it. Automatic generation. Run the init command in project directory. Claude code terminal will scan your files, generate a first draft base on your code base, structure and detector tools. Manual setup. Create a plan markdown file in Claude in your project root directory. There is no fixed format, and effective Claude MD typically contains these sections. I don't really know, Fish. It's a good question. I think that, you know, someone I knew that was kind of agnostic was saying maybe that there were failed experiments and the Earth one worked, or they were put there for, you know, maybe there's other aliens or beings living there that we're not really familiar with, that we're not able to detect, or that planets were created randomly for show, or maybe other reasons that I'm not aware of, but Earth was the one that worked perfectly for us. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, could they all be inhabitable and they tell us it isn't inhabitable? They're just lying? So those are my theories about that. Very good question. Text stack. Specific technologies and versions of TypeScript and Tailwind. Common commands. Essentially, terminal command for building, running tests, and litting. The coding conversations. The strict rules like use of consistent overlet the prefer named exports. Boundaries. Prohibitations. Except do not rules such as do not refactor code outside the current task. Current focus. A temporary section you update to steer Claude toward your immediate goal. Keep it scalable. Use headers like H2 bullet points rather than long paragraphs. All right. So, do you believe that there's floating things that we can't be able to see naked eye, like supernatural beings, maybe aliens, be invisible? Yes, absolutely. That would explain different phenomena that we can't completely see that is there. That would explain a couple of unknown things that occur that people can't completely explain, and just as a speculation based on nothing. I believe that they have a cloaking of invisibility technology where they're able to see all kinds of things that we cannot even fathom right now. So that is very well said. Modulizer for projects. Let's see. So let's see. What's the use word? That's possible, or maybe they'll evolve more in the future. It may just been delayed. Right. All right. Claude AI is used for deep reasoning and research. Claude talk through complex decisions, learn new topics, step by step, or analyze pros and cons for trickery situations. Advanced writing and editing. Beyond beyond simple drafting, it is used to refine the structure of book length manuscripts and mirror specific writing styles and compress of long essays while preserving the author's human voice. Yeah, Fish, and that's exactly why the scientists that know about this information need to be protected at all costs. Now, about 500 to 1,000 years from now, they could develop a technology to go to those different places, but they may already have the technology now, but they're concealing it for military technology. So I do agree with you, Fish, definitely. It is a leading tool for developers to write, debug, and explain code, major programs and languages, or even manage entire code bases through Claude Code. Document. An image analyst, you can upload multiple PDFs, screenshots, or images for Claude to summarize, identify key themes, or transcribe the handwritten notes. Workflow automation. In professional settings, it is used for Agentic tasks like routing customers support and tickets, summarize legal documents, and automating repetitive data entry and legacy systems without APIs. And Doctors use is to create an interactive simulations, draft personalized study plans, and build a Socratic teaching assistance and guide students through logic instead of just giving answers. Which is okay, black holes. Very good question. I think that black holes are entities that could lead to another universe, or another dimension, or uh, it could lead to something even greater, which could be a time traveling device that could go to a different time period, maybe. And it's almost like a vacuum and a door, right? It's like a glitch in a matrix. There's also allegedly something called a white hole, which the white hole's on the other side of the black hole. Like there's a on some other dimension there's a white hole. On our side's the black hole, and it's a funnel, you know, through space and time. Mainstream narrative is that it can cause the person to stretch, or something to stretch, and everything just kind of evaporates into pieces. That is the mainstream theory about them. Yes. Scared. Now, here's the theoretical physics of a white hole: is a hypothetical region of space-time that acts as an exact mathematical opposite of a black hole. Well, a black hole's gravity is so intense that nothing can escape once it's crossed the event horizon. A white hole is a region that nothing can enter, and from which matter and light are expulsionary ejected. Time reversal. Physicists often described white holes as time reversal, a version of black holes, essentially what you would see if you played a video of a black hole's life backwards. One way exit. Just as a black hole is one way door and a white hole is one way door, anything inside eventually can be expelled, but no external force can reach its interior. Gravity still attracts. Despite ejecting matter, white holes still have mass and would theoretically attract objects through gravity just like a planet or star. However, as an object gets closer to event horizon, it would be pushed away outward flow of the space time itself. General reality. White holes are valid mathematical solutions to Albert Einstein's field equations. They appear mathematically extended versions of Schwarzschild metric, which describe eternal black hole. The entropy and Thermodynamics. Many physicists believe that white holes cannot exist in reality because they would likely violate the second law of thermodynamics. Instability mathematical models suggest that white holes would be extremely unstable if even a tiny amount of matter fell toward one. It would likely cause the system to collapse into standard black hole immediately. The Big Bounce. Some theorists, such as Carlo Rovelli, suggest that black holes don't end up singularity, but instead undergo a quantum transition into white holes, eventually belching out information they once swallowed. Wormholes is some models a black hole in which white holes could be two ends of a wormhole. When matter entering the black hole mouth exists through the white hole, another part of the space time. Raccoon says, all I know is I saw it and it was life-changing experience even though nothing happened. I assume because of Nest Dog, I'm still freaked out about talking about it. The raccoon, I mean, and feel free to talk about it as much as you need to, because it's definitely a traumatic thing to experience. Because these aliens, allegedly, like the bad ones, they give off some blackness, like darkness and purple. So it's like a crazy, evil robot. That's what those things give off. So that's why I believe in the alien experiences people have. Because what if it's true? That what if it, it's like you just shouldn't excuse someone that went through a traumatic event. So that's why I think. Oh, hello there, Angel. Okay, good night to you. Thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate it. Oh, we're about to be ending it soon anyway. And uh, yeah, so but I'm glad you're able to document your experience. And Raccoon, you're very brave, in a sense, because it's like a lot of people, like you went up to it. A lot of people like would like you did more than most people would. And I said, fear is normal to feel. It's normal to feel that way. But you have the discipline to tell us about the story. Because a lot of people don't understand that. Like, it's and shout out to our dogs and cats and our pets because they're looking out for us and they can see and sense things that we can't. It's a yin and a yang. Some theorists, such as Carlo, let's see, I've seen everything in the woods. I grew up by the glacier, Montana. We went out for months as kids. No things I was scared of. Yeah, it's certainly something from another world that we have not seen here. Wormhole is same models of black holes, ends in wormhole, where Einstein-Rosen bridge, where matter entering a black hole mouth, and other parts of spare time. Big bangs. Some scientists speculate that our own Big Bang may have been a massive singular explosion matter in energy space. All right, Lori. Peace. Right. Now, I want chat to know that a couple of hours or so, I'll be going live on the phone. By the way, just to let everybody know. And just the form of reference. By the way, Montana sounds like a very cool state. By the way, the frontier, and it is. So as I said, like a moment ago, we'll be wrapping it up, but I'm going to be on a couple hours or so with the garden live. All right. So going over this direction. Okay. All right, everybody. So we'll see you all in a little bit. We'll be ending it. And Raccoon said, honestly, I was just terrified. Ness don't bark or get scared of stuff. It looked like the X Files episode, me running out with a little deer rifle, thinking it's a bear, then landing it. Landing lights. It sounds like it would be a good movie, you know, to you're just sitting there and then all of a sudden this thing comes out of nowhere. Yeah, that definitely would be a good movie to see. And yeah, definitely an X File episode. I mean, and you remember you used what you had. Like a lot of people don't even use what they have. A lot of people just use their they don't use this, they don't even try to do anything to fix the situation. And that is what, well, a sad rack, she must be ex-military. Yes, yes. Yeah, she said rack. Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah, so I think that in a lot of these, events, it could just be unbelievable at times. Like it could seem like something that isn't even real, but it is actually real. That's where I think it's quite of a shocker, to see it unfold in that way. It's almost like it's like a dream or a trance where it's not even real. Right. Okay. Raccoon, looking forward to seeing you more on the streams. I appreciate your conversations we have. You're very cool. And I like your stories about what happened. And thank you all for coming, and peace.